Whatever reason you need the King of Kings Foundation, call us. We like to feel the dreams. You call, we're coming. I speak on behalf of Lance also. And to my left, this is Deborah Jameson. She's a board member. Mind you, she wears 5 hats because she does it all. And she's the glue to keep Lance and myself straight. I know time is of the essence. I'm humble, I'm grateful, and I take today not for granted. It makes no difference on how big the stage is. This here could have taken place on the street corner. If you saw enough to honor me, who am I not to come? Once again, I'm humble. African Poetry Theater, John Matisse Branch Award for excellence in community work. So this is some fly stuff here. This is our little system. Oh, okay. That's our little system. Once again, peace and blessings, family.
Thank you. One time, you got it. Come on, you guys. Thank you. One time. Move it in bed. Now you now. What you really in it? Hold up. All right. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Yep, that's it. I'm good.
Who's this?
Mommy, can you take my mask off for me?
Thank you.
Mommy.
All right, guys. Next up, New York State Department of Small Business Services, Janelle Doris.
Good afternoon, everybody. All right, thank you all for having me here. Thank you for this amazing opportunity to come to this really, I think, sacred space, right, for all of us, right here in Harlem. John L. Doris, I'm the Commissioner of Small Business Services for the city. And before that, I ran the city's Minority Women-Owned Business Program. And I just want to give a shout out to our senators, Benjamin, and also, one of the greatest senators that we have in the state, Senator Saunders, who's from Southeast Queens. And I wish Senator Benjamin was there because I have to remind him Senator Saunders is actually my senator. And I wanted to make sure that I give my senator a shout out where I live. And so we both came over the bridge to Harlem today. Look, I think when we talk about economic development and the economic struggle of Black people, I think it goes back obviously a long way. But I think we forget to also talk about the economic ingenuity and the skill and the intellect and the drive of our people. I'm not sure any other people in the world that you can look to who is oppressed like we do and always try to make a dollar out of 15 cents somehow, like my mother used to tell me. So we are here at the city, obviously, to help our small businesses and particularly our Black-owned businesses. We launched a program years ago, BNYC, Black Entrepreneurship Program. You can look online. We have some big announcements coming this week in that program, and we want to make sure that we do what we can to help Black businesses grow in the city. So one of the ways we can do that for everybody, you can get certified with us. If you're not, you can check out our website, make sure you get certified. We're open doors that Senator Benjamin was talking about, as pertains to opportunities to work for the city and do work for the city. We buy just about everything. Unfortunately, COVID has slowed some of that down, but it will get back up and we will start to do again. So we want to make sure that you are able to participate. The mayor signed also several executive orders recently for Black and brown businesses in particular to make sure that we can participate in the city procurement process. So look, I thank you all for this great award. I don't think, when we say we're giving awards, I really think it's for the community because we are here to work for you. And if we're not doing our jobs, then, we're not doing what we're put here to do. And when God, I believe when God puts you in a place, you ought to do what you can for those whose shoulders you are standing on. And I stand on the shoulders of our senators, for those who came before us who would have an opportunity for me to actually be a commissioner here in the city of New York and to advance Black-owned businesses and our Black community to make sure that we're doing what we can to make sure that we're hitting all of our goals and our targets. So thank you all for this wonderful award, and appreciate it very much. Thank you.
One of the reasons why we wanted to honor Janelle Doris today is others speak about economic development. The film HAPI is economic empowerment and economic development. We understand how important support of Black business is one of the ways in which we can come out of the situation that we're in. Because we understand that we have the economics, we have the politics, but the cultural piece we don't necessarily have. The cultural piece directs us to support each other. And we talk about small business and small Black businesses. In particular, we understand how important this is. So, again, we want to acknowledge the Commissioner for his efforts and his support, his initiatives in the community. Again, once again, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
So you got to make sure that you got.
All right, next up, we have a group that's very, very important in the community for our children. They use basketball to assist our youth with having all the necessary tools needed, and a lot of them are getting jobs, and on top of that, graduating from high school and college. I would like to introduce my son, Mary Love.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mary Love. I'm the founder and executive director of My Son Inc. My Son Inc. stands for mentoring youth striving to overcome negativity. Our youth are facing a lot of situations. They need help, they need guidance, and they need it from us adults more than social media. My team comes out. I have the retired chief of the Department of Corrections, retired captain of Corrections, two assistant captains, and DHS. And we are all a group of professionals that know we gotta make a difference. My journey started with my own son. He got caught up. But it didn't bother me because I know as a single mother, always working, things was probably gonna happen because the community don't give the support it should. But when I started seeing so many young men belonging to other friends come through the system, I know we have to go out and make a difference. We utilize basketball as a platform because all children love sports. Then we enroll them in endless possibilities for their future. I'm gonna get
Good afternoon. I just want to say that it's very important to invest in the youth of the community. They're the future that we look forward to. Second to that, I want everyone to make sure that you register to vote, and because after the last 3.5 to 4 years, you now know that your vote does count. So please don't sit home and expect somebody else to do your job, which is to come out and cast your vote. And once again, like I said, make an investment in you. Volunteer to do something to help our youth. Our youth are walking around aimlessly. As Mary said, I spent 31 years on Rikers Island. I see a lot of misguided souls out there that came about because no one showed them the direction. So we appreciate this honor and your best future.
I just want to also thank Happy Films and African Theater for honoring us. We appreciate it. For our own to honor me is amazing. I appreciate you.
Yes. You in this present, brother? Brother man, you present? Yeah. Come on. Turn in, bro. I wouldn't say reach in either. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Work with that. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. It's getting better. It's looking good. One time this way. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. Now, mommy. My organization. Yeah, so call him first.
Mommy.
All right, next up we have the Harlem Fund. Thank you for everything that you do in this community right here. Assisting single fathers, that's extremely needed and underappreciated. And food drives and every single thing else. Hassan Mayfield. Still working. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for stopping by. I want to say thanks to hapifilm, African Poetry Theater, all the senators that did their part in bringing this to fruition. First things first, to all those who's doing the work for our young people and those who are less fortunate than ourselves inside the community, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you. I honor you. I salute you. You have my highest regards. Continue doing the work. Continue receiving support. I'm with you wherever you at. I'm there for you.
Mommy.
Yeah,
Mommy.
right here, family. What I do want to say is that the work that I do is really important to me. It's really close to my heart. When we talking about the young people and we dealing with economic development in our communities. I was born and raised in this community, Harlem, so I'm a native Harlemite, and I'm really appreciative y'all guys brought this here because we need more stuff like this here, to bring awareness, bring attention. My journey in this work started a long time ago, and it happened because myself personally, I was not only a victim, but I also was playing part in presenting the negative influences, the negative forces within my community as a young man. Due to all of the ills that we have inside our community, I was raised up, young man,
teenager, getting involved in a lot of things that were adverse reactions, adverse behaviors within our community, and I wound up going to prison for it. Inside prison is where I started to realize that all of the teachings that my mother, my father instilled inside me, that's what was important, and that's what I should have continued to embrace. However, it took prison for that to happen. Why? Because I didn't have enough mentors, enough structured guys inside my community who supposed to have been leaders holding down the community in that type of fashion. So going to prison, I wound up receiving that in the way of a couple of the gentlemen who was inside prison who started to guide young people who felt that they didn't want the young people to continue to go on the path to continue coming back to prison. It was inside prison that I began to get my mind right. Like I said, thinking of all of the lessons that my mother gave me. I ran across a couple of individuals that was my peers at the age of 15, 16, 17 years old, such as Sekou Branch. This is one of my brothers who was with me inside prison. And me and him, we would go back and forth building with each other, trying to figure out why we doing the things we doing and how we supposed to stay on the right track. So countless days and nights, we would build with each other, trying to figure out what are we going to do when we get out of here. When we got out of prison, all of the lessons that we learned, all of the plans that we put together, this is what you see in here. And he can attest to that. So what I want to say is that a lot of times we look at the guys who went to prison and they come out of prison and we say, push them to the side, we relegate them to the prisons of society, not knowing that a lot of the strength and the resources that our people need within these communities, the so-called underprivileged, downtrodden communities, is hidden gems inside our prison system. Just like out here, the support is needed. What's missing is structure. What's missing is the lack of leadership. So this is why I took the mantle. I picked up that same banner and I began to run with it and said, well, I'm going to be the example and I'm going to be the change that my community want. What I want, I'm going to take the first step forward and I'm going to be the leader that my community needs. So this is what we see. It's been since 2016, the Harlem Fund has been formally brought about as opposed to the work that we was doing. We are collective, and as a collective organization, we seek all organizations that's doing the work so we can collaborate because it's going to take a whole group of us to get this work done. This is not something that individuals can try to do on their own and feel like egotistically, I want to say I did this, I want to say I did that. We have too many ills inside our community. So it's going to take a collective, and that's what the Harlem Fund was built on. Socioeconomics, politics, self-development, as you see on our banner, this is the things that we profess, this is the things that we push for. I really appreciate you guys. I really seek the support of our politicians. Brian Benjamin, he got out of here before I could speak to him, but with all the things in light of what's going on inside our community with the criminals, with the crime and the violence, and with our young people are getting murdered, killing ourselves, that's on us. The politicians is there to support us. The politicians don't control what we do, we control ourselves. That's why we have to return to the village concept that we are all family. And that's what the Harlem Fund stands for. Families are united and not divided. We got to keep that motto inside our minds when we see each other and we want to approach each other. Do it with a smile, let a person know that we're here in peace, and that way we can open up the doors for all of us to start bringing about a collective growth. I'm not going to be any more long-winded. Thank you, everybody. Those that supporting us, please continue to support. Those that's not supporting, it doesn't matter what it is. You can talk to one person, talk to a young man, talk to a young lady. That's adding on to the progress of development in our communities. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Thank you for honoring me. I appreciate it. And I want to add, yes, mother, yes. Yeah. My father, Jones, was rich. Jones was rich. My father was like one of his favorite guys. And he would always ask me about how's it going, my son.
Where is he? All right. Queens. Get in that, Queens. Oh, good. Get in that, Queens. Congratulations. Listen to Queens. Thank you. All right. Beautiful. My brother. Yes. Turn on in there, Happy. Yes, sir. I'm happy with it.
It's name.
Beautiful. Thank you, people.
Number one. One is the unity for the people. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you. I'll keep talking still. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Next up, we have 100 suits for men, Kevin Livingston. And the great thing about what he's doing is providing suits for men who are incarcerated, and that's extremely important.
Thank you, everybody. I'll be quick. I just want to say thank you to, I don't want to miss anybody, so I say thank you to the collective for giving me this great honor. I'm really honored to be honored by, in the name of Brother Batuti, who I've known personally. If it wasn't for him, I would not have been able to do some of the things that I do in the community because he gave me that platform. I want to dedicate it to two people in particular, Mayor Griffin, a young man who was shot and killed in Jamaica, Queens, 13 years old, my former student, and John Jeff, a correction officer who was shot 11 times last night in Jamaica, Queens, due to senseless community violence. We want to dedicate this award in their memory and my work and their action into their memory. I also want to dedicate it to the freedom fighters who stood in the same block and spoke to the masses many, many years ago. I also want to dedicate it to the new freedom fighters like these young brothers right here who see injustices in their community and are standing up and fighting for it. So I just want to make sure you guys understand that we really honor, and I thank you very much. God bless.
One of the things that this organization does is they feed the seniors in our community, and they have teenagers in the community. They're in the kitchen.
Felicia. This lady. Hello. Hi. Thank you.
Next up, we run Brownsville. Beyond Raven, Sheila Gordon. They literally assist women fitness.
Greetings from the mighty Republic of Brooklyn. You know, y'all the village of Harlem. We come from the Republic of Brooklyn. 5 years ago, we started running programs to support women in Brownsville in accessing their best healthy lives. This is our fifth year in the month of our anniversary. To date, we've trained over 50 women who have never run before to run and complete a 5K race. A 5K race, we've run nine races. And so once a woman runs a race that she's never run before, she knows that there's nothing that she can't do. And when Black women run, old worlds die, new worlds merge, and barriers are broken. When Black women run, they don't just run for themselves, they run for everyone else also. And so we are honored and humbled to accept this award and say thank you.
Focus on our physical and our mental well-being, but we also know that in order to sustain our communities, our financial literacy, our financial wealth, and ability to own and recreate and own all of our financial stuff is what we also focus on. So the economic part is one of our big initiatives. So we want to just thank you guys. We want to thank HAPI for recognizing us for this wonderful opportunity.
Step out. Felicia, step out.
I'm trying not to cry.
Head up, Afro.
Next up, we have Executive Director of Central Brooklyn, LaShawn Muhammad. Thank you for everything that you do in the community, especially with economic development.
All right.
I think I'm okay. Can y'all hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
I just want to say, well, again, my name is LaShawn Muhammad. I'm the Executive Director of Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation. I also, like my sisters, hail from the Republic of Brooklyn. anniversary, the organization was started 31 years ago as an economic development corporation by community activists and advocates that wanted to pave the way for community residents to own their own businesses, to own their own homes. And so, as a Brownsville native, I grew up in the NYCHA development of Tilden. I was so honored to be able to come home and do this work and continue the work of our ancestors, right? Our foremothers and forefathers who know the power in ownership. And so that's the work that we're doing at Central Brooklyn. I'm very excited to launch that, to announce that we are launching the Own Brownsville initiative, where we are helping community residents become the owners of our business corridors. So we want to make sure that we are developing owners of businesses, owners of commercial real estate, not leasing space, right, from other people where they can't earn a profit and own their homes as well. So I'm very honored and I'm so excited about the work of HAPI that reminds us where we come from and understand the origins of our economic development. So it's my honor to be here. I'm so thankful to HAPI and the African Poetry Theater so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Come on.
Going all the way.
Oh. Say go.
Come back this way when you're finished. All right. Don't block my happy sign. Thank you.
Oh. Oh.
Hey.
I know, I saw you like.
Next up, we have New York State Senator James Sanders. He's the chair of banking.
You recording the whole thing? You recording the whole thing? You can't talk. You're not supposed to talk. Okay. Right here.
Greetings. Let me first pay homage to those who have brought homage to all of us. We're in a part of Harlem that was known as Congo Square. This is where Malcolm X would speak. Right out here, this is where Carlos Cook would speak. This is where all Marcus Garvey, everybody came right here to speak. This was the heart where you could have all kinds of people up here. I want to, of course, give credit and honor to all of the groups that have brought us here, whether we speak of HAPI, whether we speak of the Harlem Fund, whether we speak of all of the extremely worthy groups that have made the Community Empowerment Day possible. We speak of all of these things. My name is State Senator James Sanders Jr., and I'm going to be brief because I am honored to go in back of such dignitaries. I am honored. I'm going to tell you two things and I'm going to let you go. The first thing I want to tell you is how we can take back our community. That's what I want to talk about. How do we we take back our community? If you look around you, the question becomes, there's development, but development for who? Who owns all that you see? How do we take back our community? The second, I'm going to tell you a few of the things that we are doing in it. I'm going to tell you the difference between development and community economic development. First, I have to tell you that I'm blessed to be the chair of banking for New York State. And the people made that happen. Not the machine, the people put me there. I'm beholden to you. Not Citibank, not Chase, not Bank of America, or the bank anybody else. You. What is community development? What is community economic development? What is development versus economic development? Development is building I'm trying to find a McDonald's. I have nothing against McDonald's. They're taking much of my money. Obviously. Development is building a McDonald's. Community economic development is using the development of a McDonald's to build our community. Development is a big box store. Something gigantic, looks nice, and if you have money, you could go in. And if you don't, you get stopped at the door. Community development, economic development, is owning that big box store. Whether we do it collectively or individually or for the purposes of the community, is owning that. Part of the problem that we find ourselves in is we own nothing around us. We may have the opportunity of managing, whether it's a mattress firm, whether it's a Verizon. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, I'm betting that we own none of these things around here. In fact, I give you a penny if we own any of these buildings up here. I'm betting that we don't own a single building in this part of Harlem. And that means that the question becomes, is Harlem ours? Now don't get it twisted. We could go to Queens and have the same problem. We could go to Brooklyn and have the same problem. How much do we own? If we own none of it, then why are we mad if our children don't respect it? We should not be mad. Certain people were talking about the rebellions over George Floyd. And they said, oh man, those folks burning down their community. My friends, that's not true. It's not their community. They don't own it. Now, I'm not saying you should burn down where you live, where you shop. That's foolish. But we should be clear that we don't own it. And in a capitalist society, if you do not own it, it is not yours. And that's just the bottom line. So, community economic development means the first thing that we must do is to unify. You don't have a chance at dealing with it as an individual. If you do not organize yourself into a collective fashion, like these organizers behind us are doing, then you have no chance of controlling your community.
then you need to make political power turn into economic power. The purpose of politics is to create economic power. If your politicians, here's where I get in trouble, Brother Furtado. If your politicians are not creating economic development, you need to get rid of them. And get some others quickly. The purpose of politics is to create economic strength. Otherwise, it's not politics, it's politics. And we will find ourselves running around because we have misunderstood what is power. Now, I'm sure that this sister right here, they should have warned you I go pick on people. Now, sister, I know you understand power, but I'm going to be kind and I don't want you to explain it to them right now. Allow me to give a definition. Would you be kind enough? We should not walk around and just use words. We should understand words. Power is the ability to have your will accomplished in spite of obstacles. The ability to have your will accomplished in spite of obstacles. If you don't have power, don't get in that ring. It's a ring that deals with power. It's not going to ask you what's your religion. It's not going to ask you, are you a Mason? It's not going to ask you any of those things. It wants to see if you have power. If you do not have power, go get some. Borrow some, steal some, rent some, but do not get in a ring with people who have power and you don't have power. Otherwise, you are a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. And everybody kicks the one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest because he can't kick back. It's as true in the house of pain as it is out here. If you don't have power, you're about to have a bad day. Very bad day. Part of our problem around here is symbolized by how little power we have. When they build all of these buildings, why aren't we forcing them to do inclusionary housing? Meaning that they can't build any of this rich folk stuff if they don't put you in it. They don't get anything if you don't get anything. That is the proper use of your political and your politicians. If you don't eat, nobody should eat. We are not the world's designated losers. We need to change what we do and be very intent on going for power. One of the things that we're doing, come on up here, sister, it's all good. We'll make it work. All right, we're working together. One of the things that we need to do is go black to the future. I'm sorry, wrong movie. Sometimes you need to go back to what the folk were telling you right around this corner. Whether it be Malcolm X, whether it be Carlos Cook, whether it be Garvey, all of them spoke to you right at this corner. Read any of their works, and you're going to find similarities, commonalities. They're going to speak on the same issue. In a capitalist society, you better figure out capital. You better figure out how to own something. Because nobody cares about you if you have a moral argument with immoral people. You're just not speaking the language that they understand. If I'm speaking French and you're speaking English, we are not communicating. We have to find a common language and speak that. This system understands power and nothing else. Oh yeah, they'll tell you about God, but they're quick to also say, in God we trust. Everybody else better have some money. This is the nature of the system that we find ourselves in. Let me show you some of the things that we're doing in Queens. And I forgot to tell you, at the end of my conversation, I'm going to open it up for questions. Let me warn you on one thing. Don't ask me any questions you don't want the answer to, because I'm going to give it to you uncut. Here's some of the ways that we are going for power in what we're doing. Since I am the chair of banking, we are struggling to create YouTube a public bank. Pick up on that. Now I know this brother can tell me what a public bank means, but I don't want you to do it today. All right. In New York State has a budget of around $180 billion. Start talking public bank, stuff starts happening. I tell you, it's a plot. You can't even cut it off. I tell you, it's a plot. Now, at the end of this one, if you'll hand me one of them bottles of water, because I'm going to need it. The rice is I'm going to need it. Public bank. New York State has a budget of $179 billion. Now, $1 goes into black banks. Your tax dollars. Now, $1 goes into black banks. Something's wrong with that. That's showing you that you're not using your politics properly. How can your money, your tax dollars, not go into your banks? Something wrong with that. In the state of North Dakota, what they do is take their money and go to a public bank. Now I see my good friends, Citibank over there. Good friends. Quote me. And under those guys, I'm going to pick on them only because they're here. Bank of America, anybody else. Your tax dollars go to Citibank. Sometimes Citibank charges the state of North Dakota created a bank, and now they can work on you. They can work on making sure that you own homes. You want to talk about wealth? The biggest wealth creator in the U.S. for the middle class has been the ownership of homes. You could talk about paying your student loans. You could do it with a public bank. You could talk about buying and owning businesses with a less than 1% interest rate, because it is a public good. We are in the process of trying to create, by law, in the state of New York, a public bank. Since I wrote the law, I assure you, MWBE is embedded in the law. Now, I know that this person right here, go ahead and tell them what MWBE means. I know you can. Oh, you don't want to embarrass them. Don't embarrass them. I appreciate that. It's watered down affirmative action. Minority and women-owned business enterprises. It's you owning businesses. You owning it. A public bank can lend you the money at less than 1%. And a public bank does not have to have you like the regular banks that only lend you money if you don't need it. If you don't need money, when they give you money. If you need money, they're not going to lend it to you. We need to go for power. The only way that we get there, a public bank or any of these things, is to tackle Wall Street. New York is the Empire State. This is Wall Street. Say what you wish. They are entrenched here. Can we use political power to overcome economic power to create economic power for us all? This is part of what we are speaking about. Now, I got a whole big old speech and ways of doing this, but I'd rather deal with your questions. And let's see. I usually respect our traditions and let the oldest person up here have the first question. And since you're the youngest, we don't have to look to you. Who is the oldest person up here? And that's a respectful thing. Our philosopher, Richard Pryor, taught us. He said, you ever notice that you never see an old fool? Fools don't live to get old. All right. How about the youngest person up here besides myself? Try it, bro. All right, I'll take a question from anybody. Anybody got a question for me? Sir, yes, sir. How long before this bank How long? Not long, brother. It will take as long as until we organize and fight for it. If we don't organize and fight for it, it will take forever. More questions as my brother steps forward. All right. Then I will have said that I've done my mission here.
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I got a question.
Right after her.
Two.
Now you gotta, yeah. It's already being organized. Can I encourage you? Marvin, my chief of staff, is going to give our telephone number. Allow me to do this, and then I'm not gonna hide from you, brother. Both there's two in there. So we will. All right, I gotta get this. One time down this way.
I have a question.
Show up, boy. All right. This man has a question, and then this man has a question. What's your question, bro?
My question is specifically what exactly is needed for this bank?
One time. Two times.
What is needed for the bank is all of us need to make sure our elected officials are behind it. In the Senate, we have 16 senators who signed on. It sounds good, but there are 61 senators, including the Republicans. In the Senate, in the Assembly, we have 27 Assembly members who have signed on, except that we have 140 Assembly members. So the first you wanted to make sure that your elected official is signed on. And if he or she has